The main event of military operations in Ukraine over the past day has been the massive shelling of military and strategically important infrastructure facilities in Ukraine. On the evening of May 3rd, Russian cruise missiles hit targets in various regions in western and central Ukraine, where foreign military supplies were sent. At least 6 railway substations and other strategically important objects were subjected to missile strikes in the evening. According to the head of Ukrainian Railways, the damage was severe. As a result, 14 trains were delayed. There were no casualties among railway workers and passengers as a result of the strikes. One of the Russian missiles damaged the Volovets railway station in Transcarpathia. The railways in the region were used for military supplies from Poland and Romania. This was the first attack in the region since the beginning of Russia's military operation in Ukraine. The railway infrastructure in the Lvov region has suffered significantly. The armed forces of the Russian Federation struck several traction and electrical substations near the city at once. The local mayor confirmed the damage to 2 electrical substations, as a result of which electricity was partially cut off in the city. According to various reports, the targets were the substations Sknilov Transit, Kleperov Transit and Podbortsy Transit. In the south of Ukraine, in the Odessa region, the mayor of the city of Artsziz confirmed a missile strike on the city. It is likely that the target was the local railway station. Missile strikes were also reported in other Ukrainian regions. Air defense was working in Kiev, attacks were reported in Dnipropetrovsk, Kirovograd, Cherkasy and Ternopil regions. Explosions were also heard in Vinnytsia. Some of the missiles were intercepted. On the front lines in eastern and southern Ukraine, the situation remains almost unchanged. In the Kharkov region, the AFU continues to strengthen its grouping, pulling together more weapons and forces. After an unsuccessful attempt to attack the village of Cossack Lopan, the AFU continue massive shelling of this settlement. Northeast of the city of Kharkov, the AFU continues its attempts to break the Russian defense and move Russian forces away from the highways, posing a threat to the Russian rear and supplies. In the area south of Izium, over the past 2 days, Russian troops have failed to advance and capture any settlements. The battle continues on the outskirts of Lima, which was recently reached by the forces of the LPR from the eastern direction. The village is blockaded by Russian troops and units of the LDPR armed forces from the east and southeast. The battle for the control over the village approaches. In the areas of the settlements of Yatskovka and Rubtsy near the Oskol Reservoir, about 1,000 AFU servicemen remain surrounded. No changes were reported in the area of Severodonetsk. Fighting continues in the industrial zone on the southern outskirts of Rubizhnoye. Both sides are suffering heavy losses. In Popaznaya, Russian allies continue to push the enemy out of the streets of the city and its outskirts with heavy fighting. In the Donetsk region, the fronts of Avdiivka and Mariinka remain unchanged. The same situation is reported in the area of Ugledar. The armed forces of the DPR have yet to enter the city itself. On the morning of May 4th, as a result of the shelling of Makayevka oil depot, an explosion took place. According to the preliminary data, casualties were not avoided. In Mariupol, more than 126 civilians were able to leave the facilities of Azovstal so far. On the morning of May 4th, provocations by Azov militants resumed. The units of the Azov Battalion and the AFU used the ceasefire agreement to regroup the remaining firepower and strike at Russian allied forces. In the response, Russian artillery and aviation pounded the firing points of Azov militants. At the same time, the storming of Azovstal does not continue according to the decree of Russian President Vladimir Putin. On May 3rd, another terrorist attack at the TV and radio center in Mayak was prevented in Transnistria. A drone equipped with 2 kilograms of explosives was shot down. The situation in the region remains tense. The threat of invasion of Transnistria by Ukrainian, Moldovan or other foreign forces persists and will remain so until the breakthrough of Russian troops to the region.